Hey guys, what's up? Today I'll be ranking the entire RPG catalog of the company Tri-Ace, one of my all-time favorite RPG developers. Now, I'm only going to rank the games that were released outside of Japan. That means no Phantasy Star Nova, no Frontier Gate, etc. And also, no mobile games. Alright, let's begin! I just want to point out first that Tri-Ace helped the development of Final Fantasy XIII-2 and Lightning Returns in a few roles of design, art, and programming. Make no mistake though, as these can't really be considered as Tri-Ace RPGs, plus you already know I don't like them at all, regardless of being good or bad, so yeah, let's move on. Alright, we're gonna start with Resonance of Fate. The worst RPG developed by Tri-Ace is definitely the cult classic Resonance of Fate. Just because I think it's the worst doesn't mean it's a bad game though. I just didn't like it and couldn't get into it, that's all. I've explained numerous times why, my criticism usually going against its battle mechanics, convoluted, messy, hard to understand, and for me personally, not fun to play. What little I saw of the story and characters I thought was pretty neat. Concept itself is actually quite interesting, a different take of a futuristic dystopia. The graphics looked cool for its time, but that's just the power of Square Enix as usual. Music by Motoi Sakuraba is as badass as ever, perhaps even more than some Tales or Star Ocean games, dare I say. Overall, I may not like this game one bit, but that shouldn't stop you from giving it a chance. Next is Star Ocean, Integrity and Fatelessness. So the worst Star Ocean game, as I said in my Star Ocean ranking video from long ago, is 5. The last true title in the series, since I don't consider Anamnesis as canon at all. It pains me to say this is the worst because it had a lot of potential, great graphics, cool design, immersive gameplay and great story. All ruined by its two overly generic main characters, horrible camera during battle, questionable controls, and obnoxious difficulty spikes. I swear some battles were easy as hell, while others were really tough, all in the same area or dungeon! I still finished this game, and I still think it's not as bad as I make it sound sometimes. It's decent, but I wouldn't go any further than that with other adjectives to describe it. Next on the list, Valkyrie Profile, Covenant of the Plume. Tri-Ace wanted to develop a spin-off while all their fans waited for Valkyrie Profile 3. Of course that one never happened, and the series is still nowadays dormant. This DS title was a grid-based strategy RPG with encounters leading to combo-based battles relying on action points. This is something that had been present since the other games. However, for some reason they messed up badly with the difficulty, and it ended up being spiky as hell in some missions. It's one of those games with multiple routes and endings, but half of them were pretty much impossible for me to complete. Anyway, I thought that the story saved it from its awkward gameplay. It's dark, tragic, and very cynical about a guy wanting to take revenge on Lenneth Valkyrie. So while not one of the best Tri-Ace RPGs out there, I still recommend playing it, if only for its story. Next up, Star Ocean First Departure. The beginning of the series, recently remastered for modern systems. It's a great game and all, charming, creative, historically important, and I actually think it's a timeless classic. I played the PSP remake and I gotta admit it was worth waiting so many years to play an official English release of it, after having already become a Star Ocean fan. While the dialogues and character development is pretty basic here, at least the premise and the science fiction ideas were awesome. Humans visiting underdeveloped planets and having some of its inhabitants involved was great. even though those ideas kinda come from Star Wars and Star Trek. Anyway, this is still a pretty solid game to play nowadays, but not really among the best Star Ocean releases. Coming up, Infinite on Discovery. For some reason, Square Enix wanted a few exclusives on the Xbox 360, so Tri-Ace was in charge for one of them, and therefore Infinite on Discovery was born. Never knew the real purpose of that name, as it isn't really a science fiction game. You control Capel, who mysteriously resembles a lot the leader of a resistance group fighting a powerful knight. The goal of the game is to destroy the chains holding the moon thanks to an evil plot. I like the story and the character development is very interesting. It isn't mind-blowing though, but it's okay. The gameplay is kinda hard to get into. It's another immersive action RPG where your characters will run into enemies without changing screens. It's no mere hack and slash though, so you need to plan your attacks accordingly. Plus, you'll be able to connect your attacks with other characters to make combos, or you can just simply use the best kills for every situation. This game takes a while to really get you interested, but I do suggest you be patient as it is very rewarding. Next is Exist Archive, The Other Side of the Sky. The first game developed by Tri-Ace after quitting Square Enix, now published by Spike Chunsoft and Axis Games. Many fans will say it's a spiritual successor to Valkyrie Profile, even though it has nothing to do with it. It just has some similarities like the 2D side-scrolling and the platforming. The battle system is kinda similar as well, as each character is assigned to one button of your controller. It's all about knowing what attacks to execute first based on the action points bar, as in Valkyrie Profile. Story is vastly different, but still as dark. Apparently, several young characters die in an accident and wake up in this overly beautiful planet. With the help of a twisted evil being, they'll need to find if they're really dead, or if not, then the exit, if there actually is one. Great game, somewhat obscure and of course underrated. Next on the list is Star Ocean Till the End of Time. For a time, it was considered as a bad Star Ocean. Then it became one of the best for whatever reason. Today it stands as a love it or hate it type of game, perhaps due to its awkward battle system. It is awkward at the beginning, but you can get better and exploit certain characters. I used Fate most of the time until I got Maria, so I played the rest of the game with her. It's Tri-Ace, their gameplay mechanics are always complicated, sometimes you get used to them, sometimes you don't. Story in this game looks a little silly at the beginning, but then shit happens and it takes a wild turn. And don't forget, it has one of the most unique plot twists ever near the end of the game. Anyway, I think it's a great RPG and possibly one of Tri-Ace's best works so far. Alright, the last 5, and first we got Star Ocean 4, also known as The Last Hope. I don't think I'll ever be able to decide which Star Ocean is better between 3 and 4. I think 3 has better story and characters, but 4 has better gameplay and battle system. At least it isn't as hard to get into, so I like it more, and I actually think it's the best in the series. Graphics look amazing for its time, especially on the international version on the PS3. I know it has infamous voice acting for some characters in English, but most of the others are either great or just fine. Overall, The Last Hope is a great game if you overlook the harsh criticism it received on the internet. Just play the damn game and decide for yourself. So number 4 goes to Radiata Stories. Radiata Stories is by far the most underrated RPG from this company, and in my opinion, one of the best. It's about a simple swordsman in a very simple and traditional story, but simple as in charming like the Lunar games for example. It stands out for its ginormous cast of playable characters. Just remember, there's only 2 routes in the game, so you won't be able to recruit everybody. Nope, it's either the humans or the non-humans. I've done one playthrough on each and can't decide which one is better. For story purposes, non-human path might be better, but the human path has more fun characters. People say its battle system is clunky cause it isn't fast-paced hack and slash, no sir, but it works just fine and it isn't hard to get into at all. plus it depends a lot on the type of weapon you use. In any case, Radiata Stories is completely worth playing, mainly for its huge amount of playable characters. Number 3, Star Ocean: The Second Story. I am not up for debate on this timeless classic being the best Star Ocean ever. 3 and 4 come close, but in the end, the second story and its 80+ endings is unbeatable. Sakuraba did a great job on the music with some truly memorable themes that I still listen to nowadays. Heck, I often use them in my videos and you've probably noticed. I think the cast here is phenomenal, as every character seems really unique and not so stereotyped. Story really brings them all together, and there are some you can't recruit depending on your choices. Battles are great with a system that's so easy to abuse, but it's also a really hard game. Its only problem is that it can be slow at the beginning, but it really pays off once it reaches its climax. Amazing game and one of the best works of this legendary company. Number 2, Valkyrie Profile. To date, nothing can compare to the crafts of this masterpiece. I don't think there is any other game like it. Some have tried to render tribute to it, others claim influence, but they don't hold a candle to it. Certainly a rather unique perspective on the Norse mythology, focusing on a character's feelings as a commander. Each story full of depth and some darkness that conveys the different circumstances humans can go through in this world. Every one of them starts taking their toll on Lenneth Valkyrie as she continues onward as a mere servant to the gods. I love this game's ideas, its originality and gameplay structure. Puzzles are great, platforming was a cool idea, and those dungeons are full of personality, mainly thanks to Sakuraba's music. I don't need to praise the battle system one more time, I love it just like everything else in this game. And my number 1 is Valkyrie Profile 2, Silmeria. The only game that can top the original is its sequel, which can also be considered as a prequel. I understand this game is not for everybody because it's kinda hard to get into, but it's extremely unique and it's my favorite in the incredible catalog of this company. Exploration resembles the original game, still with clever puzzles, platforming, and a crystallization that now serves as a small teleportation spell. Combat is what drives some people crazy. You'll need to move around the battlefield, trying to avoid the enemy's range areas. Dashing helps a lot with getting the best position possible to attack them, but it can also get you into trouble. Get it right though, and the button mashing will be so freaking rewarding. Once I got into this system, it became one of my all-time favorites. I think it's the best Trias RPG of all time, for also having delivered an enthralling cast of characters. And of course, a beautifully tragic story full of unexpected twists. You know, I think it's actually pronounced 3 A's, not Tri-A's, because after all, these guys were 3 people who worked on Wolf Team, the original team who developed Tales of Fantasia. So when they left the studio, they called themselves the 3 Aces. So 3 A's? I don't want to argue about English pronunciation, so let's just wrap this up. Thanks for watching, don't forget to subscribe and share this video with your friends. See you next time!